Hey, Gator Nation, welcome back to the Respect Our Decision podcast. Guys, as always, I'm your boy Hirsch. With me tonight, solo, the hype man, Wes.
What's good, Gator Nation? How you guys doing?
Our boy CJ, the man McCann, is out tonight, guys. He is getting ready to close on his first house tomorrow. So big shout out to CJ and his wife and his new baby as they get their first home. Big time in a person's life, and our thoughts are with him, man, as he goes through that fun process tomorrow of closing on a house. If you've been there, you understand. You know the pain involved in signing all those documents, signing your life away. But
Yes,
it's an
sir.
exciting time for him, man. We're happy for him. As always, guys, go out there, download this podcast wherever you get your podcast from. And if you're just checking us out on the YouTube channel, guys, this is your first time stumbling upon our small show, or if you're a returning viewer that's got your notifications on, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Don't just stop by and hang out, man. Hit the subscribe button, drop a like on the video, and leave a comment down below, guys. Leave a comment down below on what recruit you are most excited about this cycle, about the Gators possibly landing. We're going to jump into some recruiting tonight, guys. We've had a lot of visitors in town, some more coming into town as spring practice is really ramped up, man. We had our first scrimmage, of course, Saturday. Um, all signs from that were, it was a good scrimmage. Obviously, you're not going to get a whole lot out of that first spring scrimmage, but we'll talk a little bit about that here in a minute. But guys, also real quick before we jump into things, man, this is a great time if you haven't already to join Florida Victorious. Of course, if you use code decision when you join Florida Victorious, you'll get 20% off your first month. If you haven't already and you are going to the Orange and Blue game, guys, they will be having for members of Florida Victorious that are at the $25 or more a month plateau or level, whatever you want to call it. They will be having a after the game autograph session in the swamp. That players, coaches, all of that. You meet Billy Napier. You meet any of the players, get autographs. Obviously, I don't have a list. I would assume that all players will be readily available for that. I'm not 100% sure, but if you're going to be at that spring game, man, this is an incredible opportunity to meet any of the players you're looking forward to. If you have that DJ Lagway jersey fresh from Fanatics or whatever it may be, and you want to get that autograph on it, man, this might be the best opportunity you ever have to get something like that. So if you're not there already, you've been on the fence, but you're like, man, that really sounds good. I'd like to be part of that. Now is the time, guys. Go ahead, use code decision on that. Save 20% off that first month. Get down there to the swamp for the Orange and Blue game. Meet and greet with these players, man. It should be a really fun time down there. And obviously, Florida Victorious has got a lot of things in the hopper here as they rev up their case to get more people on board with what they got going on. And like it or love it, man, it is what it is. It's here to stay. They may change some things, but collectives as they are right now are not going anywhere. You may not like the process. I get that. I'm not telling you to go sign up right now. I'm not one of those guys that's going to say, well, if you're not a member, you can't complain about stuff and all that. I mean, you've been fans your whole lives. You can complain about whatever you want to. That's just
Exactly.
part of it. I'm not subscribed to that theory that if you don't donate, you can't have an opinion. You absolutely can.
Yeah, that's
But just
pocket
know that,
watching. We don't know everybody's
yeah, that's
situation.
pocket watching. We don't do that, man. I
Yeah,
ain't one of them people that pocket watch. If you don't want to donate, if that's not your thing, maybe you donate in other ways to the university. That ain't my place to judge anybody and how a man spends his money, man. We all got to take care of our families. Eggs are $10 a damn dozen out there, man. We got we got to do what we got to do. All right, Wes, man. Let's jump into some recruiting, man. I want to start. There's a lot of smoke out there about offensive line recruiting right now. Me and you especially have been very skeptical, especially after last cycle, about offensive line recruiting. Um, Obviously, the Gators have gone out already and grabbed a couple of offensive linemen. notably Peyton Joseph out of Georgia, um, who is a big time, top 125 recruit in the country currently. So that was a good early sign. Okay, maybe we're taking this offensive line recruiting a little more serious. Well, there is some rumors out there, and obviously you don't always want to believe every rumor you hear. I mean, lots of things out there this time of year about where kids are going to end up, and obviously that never comes to fruition. 90% of the time, kids end up somewhere else. But there's a big one right now. The first one we're going to talk about, Solomon Thomas. He's currently committed to FSU. He's out of Jacksonville, Raines High School, number 13 rated recruit in the entire country. And there's a lot of smoke right now that a flip could be in the works for Florida. Peyton Joseph himself, offensive line commitment, has hinted at such. He's hinted about Solomon Thomas. He's hinted about Tavarius Dice, who's currently committed to Auburn, who's an offensive tackle who's ranked 252 in the country, has being another guy the Gators are firmly in the mix with, that he believes when all is said and done could end up being a Gator. Now, we've all been fans of this process long enough to know that you always get that one commit that's like, oh, we're not done yet. We got more coming. We're gonna grab him. Yo, when you gonna, and that's awesome. You love to see the energy. But then you also have to take it with that grain of salt and be like, all right, now, is he just one of those guys that gets really hyped up all the time and believes everything that kids tell him, and is easy? And he may be, or he may know more than we know. Another guy that is going to be visiting next weekend, this upcoming weekend, Ty Haywood, who is a 5-star. He's ranked number 21 in the country currently in the 247 composite. He is a offensive tackle out of Texas. He's going to be visiting us and then Florida State, or vice versa. I can't remember the order of it, but I know he's supposed to be in town this weekend. So there's another big time offensive lineman you're getting on campus. And I mean, the biggest initial battle is to get them on campus. You got to get them on campus to sell them what you're, to sell your bill of goods. So, Wes, are you encouraged by what we're seeing right now from this offense? All of a sudden, this surge in offensive line recruiting?
There's only one way. There's only way I could feel. I mean, with the stuff and the issues that we've alluded to in the past of how this staff has recruited the offensive line and how things have kind of been bad. I mean, I feel elated, for lack of a better word. The kid from out of Texas, I'm not high on him, but I just think our chances are slim with him. With, of course, him being out of Texas, maybe DJ can kind of helps him with stuff. Even our recruiting coach that we lost, to me, that's a big loss that went back to Texas A&M. I felt like if maybe he was still on staff, maybe our chances would be better. But I don't know if I would want to call this the DJ effect, but offensive linemen want to play for a big time quarterback. And the kid from out of Auburn, I'll be happy if we can, not out of Auburn, but that we can flip from Auburn. I love, but Solomon to me is the crown jewel right now. If we get the kid, we can flip the Auburn kid, and we can flip Solomon on top of that. I'm not worried about the kid out of Texas. To be the offensive line just solidified. That'll be 4, if I'm not mistaken, guys that'll be in this class. My only trepidation, and I want fans to, as like you said, we follow this and we follow this for years and years and years. I don't know how long some certain people have gotten into it, but if it doesn't happen soon, I get worried. These are the things you don't want dragging out. If it drags out, as a month that we were talking about Solomon, like Evans last year from out of Texas A&M, the DN that we kept talking about. Maybe he's going to flip. He's talking, if it lingers on, we have problems. Maybe I would say by the spring game. If he's not in by the spring game or by the summer, I would say spring game first. If we don't hear anything, he's waiting on this and that. And, we'd love to do the Friday Night Lights during the summertime and have those big recruiting visits that we ate up on last year and the year before. That's usually when we get a lot of kids. So I'll knock it to there. I'll put it back to there. But I will hopefully we can get this wrapped up. If he comes to our spring game, then I'll push my percentage of us hopefully flipping this kid even higher. If he chooses us to be here, to be there in Gainesville and be with the coaches there and the staff there, I'll boost it up. But to me, this will be the best offensive line class that the staff going into year 3 has recruited. I don't really count that first year because they came like in late December after Billy coached his last game, so it's kind of hard to get a recruiting class in there. And they got a couple guys, Kearney and Harris, that first one, and last year was pretty decent. I don't want to say it was like all time great or anything like that, but it was a decent class. But hopefully, maybe, and I'm gonna keep leaning on the DJ effect. Kids want to play with good quarterbacks and good offensive linemen want to play for a guy like DJ if he's that type of guy. He knows he needs good offensive linemen, so hopefully he's in those kids' ears as well. So yeah, I'm very very excited.
Yeah, I mean, we've already said, we're going to kind of temper expectations on this class because obviously, if the season goes bad, and obviously none of us want to see this. We all want to see Billy succeed. I mean, well, not all of us. I know there's some that have already shipped him out of the state. And that's your prerogative. I mean, if that's your thing, man, if you're not sold on Billy Napier and there's nothing he can do to sell you, I'm not changing your mind. So I'm not sitting here trying. My point is, I want to see Billy succeed because I know if he doesn't, the chances of DJ Lagway being here are slim to none. I mean, it just is what it is. He's flat out told people, pretty much if Billy's not here, I'm not going to be here. Now, obviously, you hire the right guy. If the season goes south and you lose Billy, obviously, you hire the right guy. Anybody can come in and change the kid's mind, but your chances just aren't that. And then you're in another rebuilding mode. I want to see Billy succeed to not only hold on to the guys that we got on campus that we're so excited about, but to continue to build. Because, I mean, like I said, I'm not trying to get too ahead of myself. I'm not trying to get overly excited about recruiting right now because I want to see the team on the field this year. That's where my priorities lie. But you start to show some success on the field. Like you said, Wes, you got DJ in the house. You got a few years to play with that kid. A lot of these kids are going to be like, yeah, I'm so I'll come play for that. So therein lies, the rub about wanting to make sure if you want Billy to be successful or not this season. I get both sides. I completely do. But at the same point, my whole theory is if you lose Billy, you're going to lose a lot more. And then you're looking at another rebuild, which I know the right coach, right circumstances can I know what a lot of people's retort to that is. Well, a good coach can hit the portal and flip it real quick. Yeah, well, I'm not sure that's all the way true, man. You keep having too many rebuilds and kids are just gonna be like, I ain't going to Florida. They can't never get things right. It's just a iffy situation, man. But you're talking about quarterbacks, and let's talk about quarterback recruiting for a second because obviously that is an area of talk. You're looking for a quarterback to go in this class. Obviously, we know about Ryan Montgomery, we know about Antoine Hill, and then according to Corey Bender, who put this out the other day, there's another the quarterback committed to. Golly, my brain went soft here for a second, guys. You'll have to hang with me. SMU, Keelan Russell. Those are the three guys that are really being mentioned right now as far as 2024. And Wes, I'm going to pose this to you. I mean, this is something I've seen bandied about on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it nowadays. I'll always call it Twitter. Mama called it Twitter. I'm going to call it Twitter. You obviously in the NIL era, I mean, nobody's sitting here saying, I don't think DJ Lagway got a lot of money. Obviously, we know DJ got a got a hefty NIL deal to come to the University of Florida. In your opinion, let's just breach this for a second. In your opinion, is this the year that you say, you know what, we're not going to go real big on quarterback because we know DJ is going to be the guy for the next few years? Is this a year that you say, you know what, let's save some dollars on QB and spend it on offensive line? We're going to go get a couple of offensive tackles. We're going to save on the quarterback because I think it's going to be hard to get a quarterback to come here anyway. That's elite.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to say it can't be done. Obviously, you give a kid the right NIL package, he'll come here. And but it's different than, like, I know a lot of people are like, well, Kirby does it every year. Well, Kirby's winning every year too right now. It makes it a little bit easier to sell that bill of goods when you're piling together playoff appearances and things like that, national championships. Would you, if you were the general manager of the Gators, would you say, you know what, we'll take a low 4-star quarterback or a high 3-star, somebody that's maybe a diamond in the rough, whatever you want to call it, and then go after an elite quarterback next year, kind of similar to what Lincoln Riley does? He kind of skips a year between his elite quarterbacks. What would your take on that be?
Yeah, I agree with that model. Or if you are Georgia, you take as many as you get and you have them compete, and the best man wins. Unfortunately, we're not in that situation. We've chronicled our NIL lack thereof sometimes point of view. So if it's going to cost too much, I've talked about how now college football is essentially you have to be a salary cap guru. So you have to have funds directed for each position. And right now we have don't take this as verbatim. This is my analogy because of what happened in the NFL today. We have our CJ Stroud, so to speak. We have DJ Lagway. So right
That's a
now,
good.
while you have that cheap, I don't want to say cheap quarterback, but while you have that guy in there, you go all in with the other positions. If you believe DJ Lagway is that guy, because I believe Billy Napier and the staff is seeing, okay, yo, next year he might be that guy. Then you fill in the positions around him. You make the positions around him better, which you go get if you need a linebacker. This is including, I know we were just talking about offensive line and wide receiver. This is including portal positions because next year you want to be like, okay, DJ is this dude. Now we need to go get this offensive lineman from Iowa or Wisconsin or whomever, or this linebacker from Texas A&M or Alabama or Michigan. Like, okay, so you're in the position to see guys doing in practice, whether he plays all 12 games or how many games he plays. You see what you have in house, and you know what you're gonna need to take it to the next level to compete for an SEC championship. So if he's a guy, then yeah, you limit a quarterback, that quarterback position. I've always been, not always, but I don't want to bring up this kid's name, but I thought he would have been a great 4 or 5 year guy for Florida. He kind of got away from the team, but you need those guys in the program. A Kyle Trask type guy. We didn't know Kyle Trask was going to be that guy, but he was a 2-star guy that you developed, and then you saw, okay, oh, he's legit. You want those kind of guys that stay in the program. I believe Clemson did this, but when Deshaun Watson came after Taj Boyd, I believe they had a guy, I forgot his name, before it was Deshaun Watson's freshman year, Cole Stout, and Deshaun ended up taking him over during the season. But the kid had been there for 5 years, and he was somebody that they could slowly bring Deshaun in. And I would want that type of guy. You could find a 2 or 3 star guy that you can develop in your program that compete and does good in the film room with DJ or whoever the quarterback that we recruit for 2026. That guy is a program guy, wants to get a degree from Florida, knows that he's not at that level, but can come in and win you ball games in a bunch. If DJ twists his ankle next year or 2 years from now, we in the SEC championship game and we need something. I'm saying 2 years from now, like 2026, not 2025. Let's say we're in the SEC championship game 2026 and DJ tweaks an ankle. You would want that type of guy that's been here for 3 years or 2 years at that point to be able to come in, not some freshman 5-star guy because the lights may be too big. So yeah, I believe you take a 2-star, 3-star, develop him with the position we're in right now as finances is concerned.
Yeah, and you also have to, here we are in this portal era. You have to worry about that, man. You take another big quarterback, and he realizes he gets on campus.
Good point. I know where you're going. Good point.
I mean, the NIL deal might have overwhelmed him as a senior in high school. Then he gets to campus and be like, man, I want to play football.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not playing behind this guy for 2 more years.
And you could
I
have spent
am
that on an
not going to
offensive
play
lineman.
football. And and let's be honest. I mean, yeah, you may get that initial NIL deal, but you're not getting other outside NIL opportunities if you're not out there playing and your name is big. You know what I'm saying? That's how this works. It's like NFL players. You don't get endorsements if you're riding the bench. You're not seeing bench dudes out there endorsing products. It's just the way it works.
You're not getting that Dr. Pepper and Gatorade commercial if you're not playing.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm just saying, like, you think about this now, and I don't know if everybody really thinks this through when they think about these NIL opportunities. Even if you're the starting quarterback for SMU or Iowa State, it don't matter the school. Those local businesses will give you those deals because you're the starting quarterback of that school. So the car dealership is giving you that car to drive around in, and the local restaurant, you're doing things for them, and they're letting you come in and eat for free all the time and stuff. Those kind of things. You don't think about them. You don't think about them as like, oh, University of Florida. We're not thinking about him getting this deal and that deal, But these kids sitting on the bench. Yeah. Think about this. You're the kid sitting on the bench and you're watching the starter getting this nice BMW or Mercedes or whatever it is. I'm just throwing it out there. And he's getting to go to said restaurant and eat for free all the time. And he's getting this deal. That's just, little things piling up. And he's sitting going, man, I ain't got nothing. And I was I was almost a 5-star. I was a top 150 recruit in the country.
Yeah, well, heck, people don't realize it.
I can go to Arizona State and and I wasn't even thinking of Rashada, but I can go to this other school and they're telling me I'll have this, because that tampering is going on all the time.
Yeah.
It's a lot on these young kids to think about, man. All that stuff starts adding up in your mind.
When you hear athlete, let's say Patrick Mahomes, and you're like, he's getting $15 million from State Farm to be in. No.
Yeah.
It's commercials that we don't see in Kansas City that he's getting local money for that we don't see on the commercials. Like those commercials are just to that local audience. Like I'm pretty sure we have viewers that from Florida, maybe South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, all over.
I can tell you a prime example. Lad McConkey for Georgia is out here doing Vidalia onion commercials.
And I don't see those. You know what I'm saying? But he's getting that money. Yeah.
And Stetson had those the year before.
Yeah.
In Georgia. And I'm sitting and you laugh. You're like, he's endorsing onions. He getting paid.
Yes, sir. Give it to me.
Onions paid, dude. You know what I'm saying? But we as outsiders, we don't think about that. We just think about, a lot of us are shut up and play ball. You're getting a free education. You're getting your NIL deal. But a lot of these kids, I mean, you watch Travis Hunter buy his mom a house a couple weeks ago and stuff like that. We can't just assume all these kids are getting these deals and just buying and blowing that stuff on crap. I mean, I know a lot of kids probably do initially because you ain't never had that much money before. None of us did at 18, 19 years old. You're damn right. I went out and bought a new car. I went out and bought the biggest stereo I could buy or the biggest TV that would go in my dorm room. Oh, of course. I'd be disappointed in them if they didn't, to be very honest with you.
You just want to impress. Yeah. You want to impress.
I mean, it just is what it is. But but then you look at it and say, oh, well, you know what? I've had my fun. I'm gonna go out and put my mama out of the house or something like that, or buy my mom a new car. Maybe you don't have the biggest NIL deal. I ain't mad at those kids. I ain't mad at them at all, man. If you can take care of your family at 18 years old because of the talents that God blessed you with,
And your work ethic.
and you, bro, you go get whatever you can
That's what a
get.
lot of people forget too. Like these kids do put in the work. Like, it's like getting up at 5 or 4 in the morning, working out, going to class. They're not just this. This is not given to them. They're earning this. A lot of them have worked all their life to be in a position to change their family situation. So it's not like they haven't earned it. You mentioned the God given ability, but it's a lot of work going in. Some people are not blessed like Bo Jackson to be able to just wake up and be special. Some people
At
have to put the
everything
work
he
in.
does. Yeah.
Yeah, some people have to put the work in.
All right. Enough of that rant, but like that's food for thought, man. Like it, I would rather us, like we said, go after a lower ranked quarterback. And I'm not. I know Ryan Montgomery's gonna get a good deal from somebody. It might be South Carolina. I know they're the hottest team after him, besides us. Um, and he probably sees the opportunity to be the man there. Antoine Hill. I know he's saying all the right things to us right now. We're saying all the right things to him. I just think at the end of the day, obviously, kid's already committed to Colorado and decommitted. I personally think, knowing how good that kid is, having seen him, highlights of him and who he plays against, I, I just have a hard time seeing him saying, I'm going to come to Florida and not play. Uh, Maybe he does. Maybe he surprises all of us. And you know, uh, like
It's the
it's
coins. I
it's
don't
a
want to shift the coins to him because it's gonna cost him to get here for one
that, and
year.
there you go, and therein
Yeah,
lies the rub, man. Like my whole thing is put that money somewhere else. Put it at some receivers. We need some receivers on this team.
yeah.
And to talk about some receivers just real quick before we move on to talking about some spring practice. Yesterday I know he had put it out on his Twitter that um Javen Boggs was on campus yesterday, wide receiver that just decommitted from Ohio State. Obviously, he's out of Toccoa, Florida. Uh, 6'1", 190 pounds. Now, if you know Connor, who's been on our show previous times, shout out to Connor. Connor thinks Javen Boggs is probably the best route runner of any recruit in the state of Florida. He thinks he's big time. And obviously, at one point, committed to Ohio State, Mr. Hartline thought he's pretty good too. So that's a recruitment I think he's going to draw out for a while. I know he's already set some official visits. One's to Georgia, one's to UCF. Um, Obviously, now these kids are going to be taking all kinds of official visits since they can take more. So I wouldn't read too much into that. I know he went on a trip to Georgia and was really blown away. At the end of the day, I mean, you have to say, do I want to go play receiver at the University of Georgia? It is what it is. Maybe he does. Maybe he wants to play for a team that wins right now. Different motivations for different kids. You know how that works. Every kid has his own mindset. Another one that we want to continue to monitor, Dallas Wilson out of Tampa, committed to Oregon. I mean, this is a kid that is currently ranked the 22nd recruit in the whole country out of Tampa. We have talked ad nauseum about
Talent.
wanting to get kids out of Tampa.
That talent
Uh,
pool.
Dallas Wilson, man, 6'3", 180 pounds. I mean, you want it. We need a receiver like that. Obviously, I think this is one that I think at the end of the day, this is a kid that ends up staying in the state of Florida. I'm not saying he's coming to the University of Florida. I know Miami's real hot on him as well. But that's a kid, man. If you're talking about wanting to put big time money somewhere else,
Yeah,
I mean that would be a good place to put it.
special.
Because we're going to talk now. We're going to transition and talk about spring, for a second. And our man Andy Jean is injured again. If you haven't heard already, it's all he's got a hamstring tweak. I don't know the severity of it. I just know it's limiting him in practice. I mean, you're starting to run into a situation here where you're like, oh, is Eugene is I'm sorry, not Eugene Wilson. Obviously, nothing's wrong with Trey. Is Andy Jean got a case of the Devin Moores, where you just can't seem to stay healthy? I mean, we've obviously since last year we've been on the Andy Jean hype train, but we haven't seen it yet. So now he's falling down the depth chart because he can't stay healthy. I mean, Khalil Jackson's up there. Obviously, Shimmeray DK's up there. That you heard good things about him and how he's practiced with Graham. Obviously, Trey is in a class all to himself. Trey's gonna be that dude. Um,
Mizell.
Mizell has looked good. Burps has shown up. Your boy Frazier's has even gotten some burn. I mean, but you're watching Andy Jean slowly fall behind all of those guys, man, and that's a reason for concern because you're sitting here now, you're looking at things, and I've seen a lot of people talk about this. Well, if we go out and get anybody in this next portal run, it needs to be a wide receiver. Because if you really look at the roster and you really start talking about it, you talk about a lot of guys that have potential, but then there's a lot of guys that have had potential for 2 and 3 years that we haven't seen anything out of. And we need 2 dudes beside Trey to take the pressure off of Trey. I mean, obviously, we'd love to see Trey get 10 to 15 touches a game, and he probably should. But it would be a whole lot easier to open it up for him if you had some other threats that could consistently put in work and be a factor that would keep defenses honest. The word I'm looking for there. Are you, Wes? What are your thoughts on this as far as this receiving depth chart and what we're hearing as far as Gene being injured again and whatnot?
Yeah, I'm gonna still hold out on Gene. As far as being a dude, I'd rather the staff be cautious with him and not make this something a reoccurring thing. It's just so early in spring. We'll see what happens by the time the spring game comes. If we see him out there or not, it'll be a plus. If we see him out there, we know the kid is hella talented, and we just want him to be healthy and he can put his talents on display for us and the fans to watch, so we can all be excited together. As far as Khalil Jackson, his hands are ridiculous. I love the way he catches the ball, how he high points it. To me, my thing, and I think we talked about this before, is it seemed like him and Mertz could never get on the same page. So hopefully in year 2, in the same system for Mertz and for Jackson, they can get out because I trust him. It just seemed like they could never. Then they hit on some big plays. It was just like it was inconsistent. Burke is a guy. He made some catches last year. Still, Frazier is the big type of receiver that we were just talking about. That we kind of need. It's funny because when Dan Mullen was here, we was like, "Where's the shifty guys?" And now it's like where the big guys at. So and Mizell, second season, going through the program. Know he put on some weight. We alluded about the new strength program that we have. So hopefully he can get in and be a guy that can take the top off as well to leave some underneath stuff open to Trey going across. We saw the staff put him in special maybe like 3 or 4 times. Not when a game was a game, and we took some shots to him we didn't connect on, but we know about that kid's elite speed. So hopefully the weight put on can get him some more playing time as well. Maybe he can spell Trey at sometimes because we know Trey wasn't like a big guy. So the 15 touches that fans want, I don't think he had body frame last year, especially coming in during the summertime, to be able to do that. Because I would love to see him line up in the backfield. I just want him to be Weapon X in the Wolverine situation where he can do everything. So, but we have to limit the amount of times he can touch the ball. So hopefully Mizell, if he's not on the field with him at the same time, he can spell him and do some of the same things that Trey can do as well. So, and DK, am I saying it right?
Yep.
DK.
Shamire DK.
You always
Shimmeray DK.
he's had some playing time. Of course, we talked about him and Mertz having some games together. So you want that type of veteran receiver coming in. The guy's proven that he can play in college football, and so you want that type of guy in. Maybe he can show some guys some stuff that, as far as route running, maybe some little tricks and nuances to get open and get separation. So I think they'll be okay.
I hope so, man. But I still am in that court where I would like us maybe, depending on who's out there. Um, if you listen to people like Josh Pate who are talking about this spring portal, they
Yeah.
keep saying that this spring portal is about to be wild.
They said
Hayes
after the
Fawcett,
spring game, right?
Yeah, they said Hayes Fawcett has said it, which I mean, obviously he would know a little bit. These players talk to him. Um, Pate has said it on his show openly. He's like, y'all are not ready for how wild this spring portal is going to be.
He's said it multiple times too.
Multiple times. Now,
Yeah.
obviously, the SEC rule is still in play where SEC guys can't transfer in conference and play next season. So, I mean, that takes a little bit of like the wow away from it. But I mean, there's plenty of good players in other places, man. I mean, and I think a lot of this has to do with people not honoring their NIL deals in places too. All right. Where they're like, oh, well, maybe I didn't get what I was promised, and now I'm taking my talents elsewhere.
We heard about this last year as well with that down.
Yeah, but I mean, I already say we obviously saw the winter portal was pretty crazy. I think it was probably the biggest that we've ever seen, and Florida was a lot more active. I know we're kind of up against it scholarship wise. Obviously, we'd have to lose a few players, but you have to imagine coming out of spring practice, some kids might say, "Well, you know what? I'm starting to realize I'm not going to catch on here. I'm not going to be what I thought I was going to be. Maybe I need to hit the portal."
It could be like the situation with our former quarterback Emory Jones just getting a degree. Maybe have some
Oh
guys
yeah, and
getting a
there will
4 year degree.
absolutely be some of that. Some kids wanted to graduate, and they'll participate in spring practice because that keeps them sharp. And
Putting
there's
tape out
generally
there.
hard feelings between this. They've told Billy what their intentions are, and Billy knows but at the same point, you don't want to burn. Maybe he practices out spring, and then he's like, you know what, coach, I want to stay.
Yeah.
You never know what kind of situations happen, and when they put the pads on, they get out there, and maybe somebody gets hurt, and now you're needed more than you thought you were going to be needed. You just don't know.
Exactly.
But obviously, a degree from the University of Florida carries a lot of weight as well, and so a lot of these kids want to get that degree. So I would imagine we probably have at least 2 or 3 hit the portal after spring practice, and that number could be way bigger than I imagine. All right, it could not be. I mean, you just don't know right now. You just don't. There's no way of knowing because it's the wild, wild west, man. You don't know who's tampering with who.
Yeah.
You just don't. There's no way of knowing right now who's calling up your guys through back channels and saying, "Look, man, you're a second stringer at Florida. We'll pay you to come be a first stringer here at
Yeah. We need you.
Colorado."
Yeah, we
Dion,
need
or Dion out there and lurking. Hey, I mean, it is what it is, and until somebody puts up some better rules, that's what it's going to be. But I hope to that extent we're taking advantage of the same situations provided to us, and we're out there looking for some possible. I think we're solid in a lot of places, but I don't think you could ever be too solid. You know what I'm saying? I think you could go out there, and if you can find another receiver that can come in and play next year, a tight end that can come in and possibly play next year, I don't know where else I'd really be looking at. Depending on how you feel about Miles Graham, maybe another linebacker body.
Yeah.
But once again, it just depends on what you lose too. You
Yeah.
lose a couple guys at the right spot. Obviously, it's going to generate a need. The secondary
Got me
looks
looking
really,
through the roster. Yeah, I'm
yeah. The
looking through the roster. I'm
secondary
like, I feel good.
right now, the secondary from all accounts looks really solid.
We got a lot of talented guys on this Florida team. That's
Devin
that's the
Moore
reason for
came out this
optimism.
week.
Yeah.
Zach Albert. I can't ever say his damn name.
I thought you was going to get it through
Abaverde,
that second time.
Zach Abaverde put
Yeah.
out an article. Devin Moore saying he was finally healthy. Knock on the wood and all that good stuff that he stays that way, man. We've been waiting. We've prayed for moments like this for
Yeah.
Devin to be healthy.
There's never been denying his talent. The
Talent.
kid has been exceptional when he's on the field. His only thing has been availability.
Jason Marshall has looked like he's very serious about this season. I hope he is. Asa Turner Everybody says he looks very solid. He looks the part of what we thought he was supposed to be, a sure tackle and safety. Castell has been non-contact, I believe. I believe he's nursing a shoulder or something like that. I had read somewhere. But he'll be fine. We know what Castell brings to the table. And then DJ Douglas, by all accounts, anybody that's seen DJ Douglas, I saw Dave Waters talking about it. That I've seen a lot of people talking about. DJ Douglas looks like he's going to be an absolute steal from the portal. Obviously, a guy that only has 1 year to play, but guys with 1 year to play are in contract season. Yep. I mean, that's what they are. They're in a contract year. And some guys have lived up to the hype in a contract year. They want to get that draft stock up, man. They want to get on that radar. So, that's where we stand right now, guys. Another week passed. By this time next week, there might be a lot more recruiting stuff to talk about, obviously. As more guys come and go, there'll be more hype that follows those guys. We get closer and closer to the end of spring here in the spring game. And then obviously, you're going to start hearing about guys wanting to transfer or not transfer and how guys look leading up to the spring game. And then obviously the orange and blue game, man, we're going to get a look at what a lot of these guys bring to the table. And we've talked about it the last few weeks on here. The spring game the last couple of years have been a real good barometer of what the team was going to look like going forward. So hopefully they bring out a lot more exciting product for the spring game this year.
Yeah, that gets fans. It last year fooled me. I don't know. The first couple of games, the defense did look good. Then it just like the water broke loose.
It just got to keep healthy, man. At the end of the day, and you can say this about any team in the country. I get that, but I don't think our depth is. Obviously, you don't have the level of talent from first, second, third string that Georgia has, that Texas has right now, that some of these other teams, Bama still has. But you do, as far as other teams you're comparing yourselves to, the Tennessees, the Miamis, things like that, and you're building that talent level. And I think Billy's done a really good job of that, of getting that talent level closer to where the University of Florida should be. Not there yet. Got to get that offensive line recruiting stabilized and up to par, like we talked about at the beginning of the show. You got to get these receivers on campus and then get more out of them besides just one guy. I mean, right now, Trey Wilson is that guy. Everyone else is kind of like, obviously you got Ricky through the portal, which is still recruiting. I mean, you brought that guy in and you're watching Ricky now just skyrocket up draft boards and people taking notice of how talented he really was. You've got to just continue to work that talent level up. So if you lose a guy to injury, if you lose a Shamar James to injury, you're not like, oh, our whole linebacker core went to crap as soon as Shamar got hurt. Yeah. Because the rest of the talent level wasn't where they needed to be. So
it's not like that the next guy shouldn't be Shamar. That's why Shamar started. It just shouldn't be a huge drop off. And that's the thing that we have to get back to. It should be a drop off, but not like, okay, who's this guy and why he's on the field? That type of thing.
Yeah, but now you've got Pup Howard. Now you've got Miles Graham, assuming that he will be back for fall in his. Yeah, but and a lot of people have because it was
it was so long ago.
Such a quick turnaround from him being gone from South Carolina to joining us. There wasn't a lot of time to build up the hype, and he just came in and got to work. But you've got Pup, you've got Miles Graham, you've got Childs coming in, who I still think might be the best out of all of them. It's just, I think that kid is going to be fantastic. I think Miles Graham is closer to a Brandon Spikes kind of level of leader and everything else that comes with that. But I think Childs might be
Perkins.
I think he might be the most talented linebacker we've had on this campus in a long, long time. That's just personal opinion. And I know some people might say no, Miles Graham, and hey, I think they're A B or one A one
Don't
B.
matter
And
to me.
for
If they that good, they can
hey,
be that good.
let them
Argue.
be on the field at the same time and
Make
and
it a
and
debate.
set a whole hey,
Make it a debate.
yeah,
And I'm happy.
I want to be a part of that debate.
Yeah.
We watched early. We know what it's like to have multiple talented, really
Yeah.
solid linebackers on the field at the same time, and it's been a while. So
Since
I love having a
Davis,
debate. I love sitting here having a debate over who's more
I,
talented.
I think since Anzalone and Davis been the last time we
Yeah,
had two
two really
elite.
solid NFL
Yeah.
quality linebackers.
Yeah.
That's sad, man. That's
That's a
sad to
long
say.
time ago.
Yeah. All right, guys, that's gonna do it for this week's episode, man. We appreciate you all tuning in this week. Obviously, keep our man CJ in your thoughts as he closes on his first house, like we said at the beginning. Big time in the young man's life, and we're ecstatic for him. Um, and man, we'll just keep our ears to the ground, and hopefully, we'll have some really exciting more stuff to talk about on the recruiting front next week. And we'll just keep rolling with as the spring updates roll in. We'll just keep breaking it down and talking about it. Wes, take us home.
Yeah, appreciate you guys. Don't forget, like Hirsch stated in the beginning of the video, when you go onto our YouTube page, make sure you hit the notification bell so that you can be alerted anytime we drop videos, whether it's on Thursdays or Sunday nights or Saturday mornings. However, we drop them, that way you'll be alerted to those videos. You can also join our Facebook group where we also do chatting as far as our way of communicating with each other and with the need to know and the now what's going on, whether it's basketball, baseball, or football, recruiting, especially because that's what we do. Also, our Twitter page is down in my link, RESPECTORUDCN. So that's our Twitter page. I'm sorry about spelling that out for you guys, but it's down there. So if you want to follow us there. But we appreciate the likes. Drop a comment down of questions that you may have next week or for our part of the people, something you may want to ask that you may forgotten to do early in the week. So we appreciate you guys. We thank you guys, and as always, go Gators.
Go Gators, baby. We'll check out next week.